Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it would be really fun to show you guys some really easy hidden journaling spots that you can create with things you probably already have at home. So as you guys may know, I have been creating some printables in my Etsy shop for a while that are fold out pieces. So pieces like this with an illustration, these are the ones I've created for my Etsy shop, and these are Christmas themed. This is from a different pack, so I have several different packs in my shop, and basically what it is an illustration which then opens out and has a space for journaling. Like I said, these are just a couple of the ones that I have in my shop. I have several different packs, so there's lots to choose from, but I know a lot of people don't like to use printables, so I thought today we could create a really simplified version of this idea that anyone can do with stuff they already have at home. So just to show you what those pieces sort of look like and act like within a journal, this was a page I did for my birthday, and this is a fold out here. For example, I've used it to add a photo and to hide some journaling inside, and then this is another one here, so this one opens up where I've done some writing inside, and then there's another one in the pocket, so this one I've kept loose and it opens up, and again I fit a photo and some journaling inside. So these are just some fun ways to add more hidden journaling spots within your pages, and we can create a similar idea without using any printables, and we can do that using book pages. So here I have some books in front of me. As you can see, they've already been used for crafts, so a lot of them are missing their covers, but if you are a junk journaler, chances are you have a lot of books that you tend to use in your crafts. A really great place to find books is at like junk stores or tip shops, and you can get books that have been discarded and you can reuse them and you can give them a new life. I'm always more inclined to reuse books that have been damaged and that are kind of not usable as books anymore. So when pages are falling out or if covers are missing, those types of books are perfect to use in crafting because you can give them a new life rather than just discarding them and throwing them in the bin. So this is a really simple process, very straightforward, but we're just going to make a few together and talk about the different ways we can do this. So I have an example here, these beautiful swans. This is one that I've just taken out of a children's book, and this is sort of just the first step of creating a fold out, and you can totally leave it at this step 1, and this would work beautifully in my journaling. So this took me about 30 seconds to make, and we're going to make a few more and then talk about a couple of extra steps we can add to that to make it even more decorated and to make it look more finished, or other options that we can add. So I'm just going to flick through some of these books and pick some illustrations that I think might work well. So let's just flick through. So the whole idea of creating these fold outs for me came from looking at children's books with my kids and reading books to my kids that have the lift the flap elements in them. I just think it's such a fun way to have an interactive page, and we can definitely bring that into our journals by creating little fold outs that are interactive where we can hide some journaling behind. This one's really cute. I could totally use that. So let's say we wanted to use this beautiful pony. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut, just going to loosely cut around the image. And then what I'm going to do before I start cutting this, I'm just going to think about how I would want this to lift open on a journal page. I think at the bottom here would be a great place for it to lift, so it will lift downwards like this. So I want to keep this bottom edge nice and straight. So I'm just going to cut up from the bottom, and I'm going to leave that bottom edge as it is. We want to keep sort of some extra space below the illustration because that's where our fold's going to be. And then I'm just going to really loosely cut around the image. So for me, I find that I don't want this cut to be too intricate, so I'm keeping well away from the actual illustration so that this is a really loose cut. I don't want to fussy cut it because that can become a little bit difficult later on, and it can make the piece a little bit more flimsy when we're folding it in our journal. So then this would become a fold out when we have a fold along the bottom here, and it will fold down. So to do that, I'm just going to fold this piece over, and we're basically just creating a small section of the piece which can be glued down. So the glue would go on this. So the glue would be applied under here. It could then be attached down onto a page, and then you could fold the illustration up and down and hide some journaling behind it. So I'm going to create a couple more of these with you, and then we'll talk about a few extra steps that we can add to make these even better. So I think this one is really precious and that could work really well. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm just going to cut it out loosely, and then we'll go in after and cut it into the fold out shape. So I'm going to cut out a couple of illustrations to work with. So there's another one. The illustrations in this book are quite big. Most of them are a full page. So these ones are a little bit more tricky to work with for fold outs. I'm not going to use any from this book, but you could definitely fussy cut out a section of a page and use that. I'm not going to. I'm going to look for illustrations like this that are a little bit smaller and easier to work into a fold out. So I really like this one, the camping illustration. I think that would be really cute. I'm just going to actually tear this out and I will use that. I also think this shopping one or market one is really cool and would work well. So I'm going to tear this page out as well. There are so many beautiful illustrations in this book that I could use, but I'm just going to pick the ones that stand out and the ones that I can picture using within my own journaling, so I can make sure they're going to be utilized. That one's really cool. It's a little bit big though, so I think I really like this house one. I'm going to use that. It's already cut for me, and I'm really drawn to this one as well, so I'm going to tear that out as well. And then I'm just going to have a quick flick through the other books to give you some ideas. So this peacock you could definitely use. That would be really cool. Or this owl would work really well. It could fold out again from the bottom, and then you could cut around the owl and it could fold down. So I think you don't want your pieces to be too small, but you also don't want them to be too large. I find that the fold outs work best when they just take up a smaller section of your page. This deer illustration could work well as well, so I may use that one. I'm just going to cut across here. Okay, so that gives us a lot to work with here. So I'm just going to have a look at what I've picked, and I'm going to start cutting out some of these shapes. So when you look at the page, just work out where you want your illustration to fold out from. So for both of these, I decided to have the fold out along the bottom. That's really easy and usually the most common place you would cut. So this one, again, it would work really well to fold out from the bottom. I could also make it fold out from the side. I think this one I'm also going to go from the bottom though. So again, just cut straight like a tab, and then just loosely cut around the illustration like so. So there's that one. For this one's going to take up a large section of my page. So typically I wouldn't go this large, but I think this would be really cool to work into a journal page. And I'm thinking I might make it open from the side here. So I am going to cut straight across and then roughly around the illustration. And I think I want to keep the fresh vegetables sign along the top as well. So something like that. We can always trim it down a little bit more later. Then we've got this lovely house one. Again, I just picture this opening up along the bottom, so I'm going to keep it that way. I am going to trim it down a little bit and keep that cut nice and straight. And then, so imagining this as like our tab, so nice and straight, and then we can go around in whatever shape around the illustration that we need to, like that. Then we've got this one. I'm going to cut straight across the bottom of the picture. And then I think I might make this one open from the side. So we're going to keep this nice and straight, and then we can just start cutting in whatever shape we want. So I'm just going to cut around the image. I think I'm going to cut off the words on this one. So there's that one. And then I could make two with this one. So this one, it could open up from the top, could open up from the side, it could open up from the bottom. I might make this one open up from the top just because I've done a lot of bottom ones so far. So I'm going to keep this top edge straight, and then we can cut around the illustration. And again, I'm going to cut off the words for this one. I find it easy just to sort of keep the cuts nice and round and like a nice solid shape rather than making it really intricate. And if you're not confident to go in and do that straight away, you can always go in with a pencil and draw the line where you think you might like to cut. Then we've got this deer illustration. I think again, I'm going to make this open along the top here where I have that white space. So how big I want this to be, I'm not sure. I think what I might do actually is just cut around the illustration, so it'll be kind of a bit of an irregular shape. I'm just going to basically cut around the illustration, which removes all of the text. So I'm just going to cut like that. And this will then have a fold along the top. So this will open up to reveal something hidden within the page. And then the last one I have is just the other end of that book page. So this one, I think I might open it along this edge as well. So I'm going to cut here. I'm going to keep the word woods, just like so. So you can see already how this is going to work and how easy this is. I'm going to pull out my journal to demonstrate how these would work. So I don't have a lot of blank pages. I'm just going to use this page to demonstrate. So we've got this one which I've already showed you. I've already folded the tab on this piece. So basically what I could do is I could take this piece and I could glue it straight down on the page, and I could leave it at that. That could be all that I do. So that would work for any of the pieces that you create. You could keep it literally that simple. So for the rest of these pieces, I'm going to create the folds to show you what they will look like. So this one, it has the fold on the side, so it would attach here where the fold is, and then you would lift it up and you could do some hidden writing or whatever you like underneath. For the deer piece, I'm going to create the fold along the top. So I'm just going to fold it over. And again, you would add your glue or your double-sided tape along that fold, and then it would attach to, I would put it along the top of the page, and then it would fold up to reveal whatever you would like to hide underneath, whether it's a photo or a drawing or some journaling or whatever you like. Same with this piece. This one's going to fold along the top as well, so I'm just going to create that fold. So I'm going to just go ahead and create all of the folds on these pieces. So you can keep it that simple, or you can go ahead and add a few things. So just a few suggestions. So for the fold outs that I have in my shop, they come with these lined pieces that sit behind the illustration. They're already ready to go, so they're the correct shape to fit behind the illustration already. You can do that on your own manually with the illustrations that you cut. So I've got some lined paper here that we can use, and what you could do is take a sheet of lined paper. I would suggest using something a little bit thicker than what I have here. But what you could do is you could take your piece and sit it on top of your lined paper, and then you could take a pencil and you could trace the shape that you've cut in the illustration onto the lined paper, and then cut the lined paper out, and it will be the same size and shape as the illustration that you have created. And then you can attach your fold out piece to the lined paper with the tab that we created. So you would glue this section to the lined piece, and then you would have a fold out piece with lined paper underneath it in the right shape. So that's how you would create a lined piece behind it that is perfectly the right size and shape to be hidden completely behind the illustration. But you definitely don't have to do it that way. If you are working in your journal, let me find a page. So let's just say that I've done some writing on my page and I want it to be a little bit more hidden. I could take one of my fold out pieces and I could attach it directly down onto the page to hide some of the journaling. So again, just by gluing where we folded, and then this piece can be folded up and down to hide our journaling behind it. So that is another really easy way to incorporate these pieces as you go along. Another thing you might like to do, you may have a fold out piece that you created from an illustration and you might flip it over and you might not like what is on the back side. So what you might like to do is take some patterned paper or some lined paper or any paper of your choice, and you might just like to glue it onto your piece to back it and to hide whatever is on the back side. And what that would do is it would give you even more room to work with. So if I was to glue this down onto the page, I could do some writing behind it or I could stick a photo behind it. But if I backed it, this could also give me more writing space or more of a blank space to work with. So you can back it with something more decorative or something that will fit sort of with your aesthetic or the look that you're going for. So now I'm just going to create one demonstration for you of how you could take this to sort of like a more finished piece by backing the back of it and by adding some lined paper. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll just go through it with you. So once you've cut out your piece and you've created your fold, I'm just going to neaten this fold up a little bit more. Actually, I really love the illustration on the back of this piece, so I'm not going to use this piece to demonstrate. I'm going to keep this one exactly as it is. Let's find one that I don't mind hiding. Yeah, let's go with the one with the house. So I love the house, but the back is just like people's legs. So the illustration's been cut. I'm going to hide it. So say if I take a scrap piece of patterned paper, I'm going to take my glue stick. I'm just going to apply glue all over the back side of the fold out piece that we've created, including the folded piece. So just the entire thing. That's the easiest way to do it. So all over. I'm just going to take a piece of patterned paper that's a little bit bigger than the piece so I can make sure it covers the entire thing. I'm just going to glue it down and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to recut this. So I'm just going to cut around where I have already cut. So this is going to just back the illustration so that we have a pattern that we actually want on the back side. So now our house image is backed with patterned paper. I'm going to just quickly recreate that fold. And now we can add the lined paper behind it. So this time I'm going to put glue only on the fold here. So from the fold down, this is sort of our tab. And then I'm going to glue this down onto the lined paper where I want it to sit. And then we're going to basically redo what we just did and cut out the shape once again. And this is only if you want your lined paper to be completely hidden by the illustration. You certainly don't have to have it sit perfectly behind. You could have it overhanging. You could attach it directly down onto a page over the top of something you've already done. It doesn't have to be completely hidden, but if you wanted to, this is the way to do it. So now we have our fold out illustration, and when we fold this down where we've glued, we now have some pattern paper here, so I could put a photo on top or I could do some journaling, and we've got our lined paper in the background where we can do some journaling, which will then be hidden by our illustration. I could take it to my journal and I would apply glue all over the back side of the lined paper, glue it down into my journal, and then this would fold down to reveal some hidden journaling space. So that is it. It's so easy to create these hidden journaling spots. Here are just some of the pieces that we created in this video. So easy. You can take your favorite books and you can create beautiful little interactive hidden journaling spots on your pages with your favorite book illustrations. And this concept isn't even limited to book illustrations. You could do this with greeting card illustrations, you could do it with hand-drawn images or pictures from other people, and you could create fold outs with other things too, like packaging ephemera from your life, and more just with this really simple method. I'm so excited to use these in my pages. They are so cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I always love the idea of adding decoration that's also useful and purposeful, such as this idea, because it adds decoration to the page, but it doesn't take away from the space that you may need to actually do written journaling or add your memories to the pages. So thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I hope you're all doing really well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.